Hey, what's up everyone? Luke here with a brand new video. Thank you for joining in. So today we're doing a one-pack build using only base game and Blooming Rooms kit, which is currently free, so I would recommend getting it because in my opinion it's one of the better kits, and even if you don't like it, hey, it's a free pack. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, it's only free for PC and Mac players, so I'm sorry for all you console players, but it appears that you won't get the pack for free, unfortunately. Anyway, let me tell you a bit more about this build here. So, as I said before, it's a one-pack build, so I only use base game and the Blooming Rooms kit. And I want to build a more modern house. I wanted it to be rather small, and I built this in Willow Crick on my favorite lot here because it has the best lighting in this world, in my opinion at least. So the Blooming Rooms kit has a few very nice items which you will see later on, for example the hanging plant, which I almost used too much in my opinion at this point, but there are also some very nice potted plants, but also some objects that are a bit weirder, which I don't like to use very frequently. I tried to use as many objects as I could here, but of course I didn't use all of them, because I feel like some of the objects don't really fit together even though they come with the same kit. Blooming Rooms also doesn't match particularly good with base game in my opinion. I don't know why, but whenever I try to use this kit with just base game, I kind of struggle building something that I'm satisfied with. I like this house here. It's not my best work, but I hope you guys like it. And I tried my best here building something aesthetically pleasing, which is also functional of course. And here comes my old arch nemesis, this staircase, because these things are just horrendous to use in the game. I really hate using staircases, especially when I'm building things like this house here, which has medium height walls for the first floor. And the staircases take up so much space, but as usual, I don't want to use a ladder here because, let's be honest, nobody has ladders in their house to reach the second floor. Anyway, it turned out fine. I also like how the house looks now. And this is the beauty of building, because sometimes you don't plan on having to add additional walls or rooms to the build, but usually they end up fine, and I'm also pretty satisfied how this looks. I also wanted to add a carport here because I really like the last one, which we did for the nostalgic Japanese inspired home. I'm gonna put that somewhere in the screen if you want to check it out. Anyway, I wanted to add a similar carport to this build here because I think it really fits the aesthetic here. It's so simple and clean looking, which was what I was going for with this build here. But as usual, if you have any criticism for me or any feedback, let me know in the comments below. I always appreciate that. So I'm aware that a lot of you are waiting for the Japanese inspired dorm, and I will finish it. I just encountered some problems that need solving before I can upload it to the gallery, and I wanted to finish this build here first because I'm not sure how much longer the Blooming Rooms kit will be for free. And to be honest, I didn't realize it was for free until like a few days ago, because I already had it, already bought it like when it was first released. And I know there are a lot of people who don't buy packs for whatever reason, so I wanted to build something that is available for free for everybody. But as I said before, I'm not sure how much longer this kit will be free, so better hurry up. By the way, I'm not sponsored or anything, I just want to get the word out because I want as many people as possible to be able to get this thing for free since packs are so expensive. But now let me tell you a bit more about this build here. So it's intended for 2 sims. As usual, my houses are rather small. Let me know if you want to see bigger houses. I have a really big house in my gallery. It's like for 10 sims, at least when it comes to bedrooms, so it's a mansion. It's also a one-pack build for which I used only cottage living and base game of course. But this house here is only for 2 sims because there isn't more space. As I said before, I wanted to build a smaller house. If you need more space, you might want to attach an additional room somewhere on a bigger lot, of course, because this one here is already filled to the brim. So as usual, we have an open room concept here on the first floor. So we have our kitchen, dining area, and the living room all together. So because there wasn't enough space, I had to place the bathroom upstairs, which is a bit unusual. And I'm not a huge fan, but it is what it is. So for the colors, I decided to go with lighter wood tones, lots of white, but I also used some of the more colorful swatches for certain objects to make them stand out a bit more, which was kind of necessary because a lot of the objects from Blooming Rooms kit are kind of flashy, and I'm not even sure if I have used this. I'm not even sure what this is. This shelf here, is it a shelf? Which looks pretty cool, and I didn't want to use it in white because it's a bit boring, so I decided to go with a more interesting swatch with the green and this kind of orange brownish color here. So this is one of the problems I was talking about earlier. These accent tables, I think that is what they are. They're very cool swatches, but the problem here is the glass on top, because for almost all of the swatches, it is blue. And the blue doesn't fit with anything here, so I had to go for the white ones, which are the only ones who have the more neutral glass. I also have to say that I almost scrapped this house because I couldn't figure out the layout at first, so I had to cut a lot of this video because I was just going back and forth, deleting objects, placing them somewhere else, then starting from scratch. And I always make the same mistake, as you can see here, because this table has 4 chairs here, and the one in the corner is usually not usable if they're too close to the back wall here, and so I had to move it a bit more to the center of the room, which looked odd, but now it's functional. I also had this half wall here to kind of separate the living room at least a little bit from the rest of the house, but I'm pretty satisfied with how the living room turned out. I think it looks interesting. I tried to get it out of my comfort zone because I feel like it's boring to use the same objects over and over again, and having white furniture and white walls is always a safe choice, but it's also quite boring in my opinion. So I tried to get some color in here, even though I used a lot of white and gray anyway. So as usual, I used a lot of clutter, and those of you who watch my videos more frequently are aware that I am a man who likes his houses cluttered. What the heck is going on? I'm sorry. Anyways, you can see I was just throwing clutter at these coffee tables here, trying to figure out where to put what, which swatches to use, and I wanted to have even more plants on the accent tables here, so I used some from base game as well. By the way, a lot of these nice plants you can see right now are actually custom content, so they're not included in the pack, and I never used them before. I downloaded them like, I don't know, a year ago, and I never used them for some reason, because I don't use custom content. I wanted to, but I feel like it would be annoying for you guys to download the content as well, and this would restrict my builds to people who are actually willing to download the custom content, so I prefer not to use it. Even though there are some really nice objects in here, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to use custom content for the occasional build. Obviously, I won't use it for all of my future builds, but I might do a video if enough people are interested in that. So as I said before, let me know in the comments below. So at this point, I think the house looked pretty good from the inside, at least the first floor, because I didn't do much for the second floor. We only have the bed there. And so I started with the landscaping here, and I wasn't sure if I wanted the landscaping to be more modern or more rustic, so I decided to go for a mix. And so I used the mossy rocks, but I also added some more modern, clean looking elements later on. By the way, this object here is also from the Blooming Rooms kit. It looks very nice, and I know I said I don't want to use too much white here, but it was the only color that kind of worked here. I like the yellow. I also like the green one, which is some kind of pastel mint green, which looks really nice. This object here is also great, but I don't like the swatches for the pots. They're too colorful. I think they don't really fit this build here. But now we're moving on to the second floor, and as I said before, we have a bathroom right here. And in retrospect, this is also a good placement for the bathroom here, because I was able to put the bed against the wall here, which looks much nicer than before. And this way you can also look out the window while lying in bed, which is a bit unusual for my builds. And there was somebody who left a comment on one of my videos asking me, and you guys of course, if you place your beds against the wall so you simply can look at the window. And I thought about this, and I think I never did it before, so I wanted to do it with this build here because it made sense. It was also very convenient for me to place it like this. It would probably make more sense if this house was on a different lot with a more picturesque surrounding, I would say, because here you're looking at a suburban neighborhood and your view is mainly the street, so I would say you should probably place it somewhere else. I also wanted to have plants on the roof, and as you can see, I started to add bushes to the roof because I didn't want to do too much landscaping here, so I decided to have more plants on the roof. And it doesn't come as a surprise to me that the Blooming Rooms kit doesn't include any outdoor plants, or at least any plants that are specifically outdoor, because they're all potted or hanging or stuff like that, but we don't have any flowers or bushes or trees, which makes sense. And so I exclusively use base game for the roof here, but not for the rest of the garden area. Even though the garden is very small, I ended up removing parts of the fence here because it felt very constraining and I wanted the garden area to be a bit more open. Actually, if you look at the finished build, there's not much grass left because I use a lot of platforms here for the patio, but we also have another patio, which we will see in a second, but we also have the pool area here, which also takes up a lot of space, almost 2/3 of the backyard. But I wanted to have a bigger pool area here, and I think it's fine because we have so much greenery on the roof here. And this is also a very small lot. It's only 20 by 15, so if you want more lawn area, you should probably move this to a different lot that is a bit bigger than this one. This way you could probably add an additional bathroom downstairs or an additional bedroom, which shouldn't be too difficult because you could basically just copy the bedroom and place it next to the house, creating some kind of annex, or you could simply place it somewhere else on the lot, add a kitchen and a bathroom, and this way you have some kind of guest house or at least more space for your Sims. So as you guys can see, there's not much lawn left here, and I think this is the biggest flaw of this house, but we're focusing on blooming rooms, not blooming gardens, so I think it's not too much of an issue, even though I would have liked to have more lawn space. Also decided to get rid of the bar here and add some deck chairs to our patio in the back here. So to frame a front lawn here, I used these size down debug objects, which look pretty good in my opinion. And as you're probably aware, the reason for that is that you can place fences, walls, or half walls directly at the border, which is really annoying in my opinion because it's kind of restricting. So I'm glad that we have these debug objects here. So another thing I wanted to address, which I almost forgot, I received a message on Instagram which seemed kind of concerned, and I read it but I didn't respond because it was really late at night. It was almost 2 in the morning, and I just wanted to say thank you for your concern. I'm good. I'm not discouraged or anything. I try to figure out why I would think that, maybe because I just sporadically post on Instagram, but I have to admit that it sometimes is a bit frustrating if you make a video or build something you think will perform very well, but it doesn't perform at all. But I think that's just how YouTube works, and you can't really do anything about it except trying to constantly improve your content, which I try to do. But anyway, thank you for the message. I'm glad that you enjoy my content. I hope you're still watching. I tried to respond the next day, but it seems like you deleted your account or changed your name because I couldn't find you and the message was also gone. So that's that. Now back to the build. As you can see, the exterior looks pretty good here. I decided to get rid of the fence in the back because it was just a bit too much in my opinion. It looked kind of cramped. I also didn't want the table here to be on the ground, so I decided to place another patio in the back corner here, which is quite big in my opinion, but I decided to keep it because we also have the barbecue here. As you can see, there's not much lawn left here, which is kind of a pity, but as I said before, you can always put it on a bigger lot if you want more lawn space. Also use the same mossy rocks here, which I used for the front yard. So in the stone circle here is actually a tree, which you can't always see because it's a debug object and they kind of disappear when you get too close, which is kind of annoying. And as I said before, for the garden area, I used mainly objects from base game because we don't have any unpotted plants in the kit since it's the Blooming Rooms kit. So here you can see one of my favorite objects from this kit, which is a curtain, or at least you can find it in the curtain section because it's supposed to be attached to windows or doors. This hanging plant here is also a great object, but I think I used too many here and I ended up deleting the one in the hallway here because it was just a bit too much. So the bathroom was basically finished. I just added some more decorations here. For example, these bath mats, rope and toilet paper, which I tend to forget until the very last moment. So in comparison to my usual bathrooms, this one here is pretty big. We also have the full set of appliances, a sink, a toilet, a shower, and also a bathtub here. I like to put big windows next to the bathtub, which is kind of fortunate that we're on the second floor now because this way nobody can see inside. So at this point I was just finalizing the house, placing the last missing objects here, for example some lights, some additional decorations, some clutter. I didn't use too much terrain paint for this build because it was kind of unnecessary since the majority of the lot is covered by stuff. I would say with the pool, we have the patios, we have the concrete, we have the house. And since we have a rather clean garden area, it also looked a bit odd. So I decided to keep it clean and simple, at least for the exterior, because inside I started to clutter the shelf space here, which I almost forgot because I was so busy figuring out where to put stuff in the bedroom and the bathroom. And to place all the objects here on the shelves, in case you're unfamiliar with this mod, it's called the OMSP shelf, which is also called just Rat Shelf mod. It's very useful if you want to place stuff on top of things which don't have slots for it, or stuff that usually can't be placed on top of each other. I'm gonna put the mod in the description below if you're interested in checking it out. It's super duper useful for all builders. If you want to improve your builds, you might want to check it out. You can also use regular shelves for the same purpose, but this one here has more slots and it is basically a staple mod for builders in my opinion. And with that, we're almost at the end of the video. I was just cluttering these shelves here, which are also from the Blooming Rooms kit. They got a bit of IKEA aesthetic to them, so I really like them because, as you might know, I'm a bit of a sucker for IKEA products. I just like how they look, I like the whole experience. And to place the clutter here, I used a different mod called the T.O.O.L mod, which is even more useful than the red shelf mod because it basically allows you to scale objects, elevate them, lower them down, place them where you usually can't place them, so it's very useful. It seems a bit complicated at first, but it's actually super easy, so if you want to check it out, I'm also going to put it in the description below. So one thing I want to mention, this house is of course play tested and fully functional and available on the gallery, so if you want to download it, you can of course. My ID is in the description below if you want to download this, but if you do, please don't forget to leave a like, it helps me out a lot, it's the easiest way to support the channel. And with that, we're at the end of the video, and before I show you the finished build, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you have any feedback for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. See you next time.